Hi, I'm Henry DeVries. I'm with the California Business Journal. Today I'm interviewing Warren Musser, author of the book, Thinking Bigger. Warren, you describe humanity as being on a great progression. What exactly do you mean we're on a great progression?
It's how we grow our knowledge and how it changes how we live and what we are. So, we've been growing. We started out as hunters and gatherers, and then we went to farmers and so on, and kept growing our knowledge. And finally, we've just grown an enormous amount of it. And that's what the Great Progression is.
Now, in thinking bigger, and you can't really pigeonhole this book if it's philosophy or history or a futurist, but I call you a futurist. I think you're a futurist. And you argue that humanity has a specific role in advancing the universe. What is that role, and how did the universe create us for it?
I tried to several ways to prove that this great progression had a natural summit. And the first way I tried to prove it was by maximizing certain areas of knowledge. The second way I tried to prove it was by looking at how the universe works and how it created us, and how it, I think, gives us a role. And it's a little complicated, but I'll do my best to explain it. It's the universe created us through 7 totally different processes. The first was the Big Bang, and that created nuclei and electrons, among many other things. The second stage was cooling. That was the progressive process, was cooling, and that created the first atoms. And the third stage was, when you have the atoms, what does the universe do next? It's got to create simple stars at birth. And so that's stellar creation, is the progressive process. But then your stars are only made of hydrogen and helium. So in the fourth stage, you start to create complex stars at birth, including some stars that have planets with maybe some water, and rocky planets with some water. And then after that, you have a sixth stage, and that's with let's see, I would say chemical evolution, and that creates bacteria. And then the next stage is, I guess that's the sixth stage. And then the seventh stage, we have biological evolution, and then that creates us. And then the question is, what happens in this stage that we're in now? And that's where we're in this great progression, and we know that we start the progression, so we can't end it. So we have to change considerably where we are to get to the top of this progression. And so that's how it created us, and it gives us the role of becoming greater beings than we are now.
I found your book to be optimistic, but you say we're dangerously lost despite all the progress. Why do you believe we're possibly heading towards self-extinction, and what must we do to change course?
We're moving, I think, toward an early self-extinction, because we've never known where we should go. So we've gone in all these different directions. We've created, we've overpopulated the planet. And a lot of times people say, well, there are nations that are losing population now, but the planet is still gaining population. 8 billion going on 10 billion. We have created climate change, which is just harming our planet's ability to support us in the future. And then, of course, we have wars with ever more horrific weapons. We had the 2 atomic weapons that destroyed the 2 Japanese cities, and now the weapons are 10 times more powerful than that still. So, I mean, how much farther can we go with all these weapons? So that's why I think we're heading toward a early self-extinction.
Now, you coined a term in the book, the Collusion Summit. So what is this Collusion Summit, and why do you call it humanity's biggest, nicest, best future?
Well, since growing knowledge is really what our progression is about, we just keep growing more and more knowledge. The question is, where does it naturally end? And it naturally ends where we maximize the knowledge that's important to us, the knowledge that helps us in our self-development. And once we get to that summit with this maximized knowledge, there's 7 areas that I think we should probably maximize if we can. And then there's the 8th area is maximizing ourselves. Well, the greatest future is, the biggest future is when we maximize these 7 fundamental abilities. And the 8th future is where we maximize ourselves. And the 2 together gives us the greatest future.
How does identifying this summit really help us? How does it help us transform our understanding? And how does it help humans know what our real purpose is?
Well, we're all in this great progression. We're deeply in it. We don't, none of us have created the wheel or learn to fly like the Wright brothers, but we all participate because we keep using this knowledge. We use it all around. Everything in this room is made, from people that learned the knowledge of how to do all these things, and we keep that knowledge in our heads, and that's what keeps us progressing. I don't know if I answered that question.
I like it. Let's go to the next one.
All right.
You propose that new global organizations are going to be required to help humanity fulfill its purpose. So what kinds of structures or organizations are you thinking about?
The Great Progression has this quality that it keeps accelerating and it keeps getting more complex. So here we're in this thing that's doing that, and it's unmanaged. We're here, the thing that concerns us all is unmanaged. And if it's getting faster and becoming more complex, that's where we're heading for the great self-extinction. So what we have to do is something that's very difficult to think about, but it's doable and we should do it. And that is, we have to organize our progression. We have to take charge of it. And that's the only way we can really succeed in the end.
Final question. Yes. If we truly begin thinking bigger, what does that look like? What does the world look like once we've reached the progression here?
Well, I'm surprised at what it looks like, because I thought that if I could identify these maximized futures, that I'd have a very good idea about what the world looks like. But for example, in transportation, that's one of the areas that has to be maximized. I'm sure there's a limit. I'm sure there's a maximum, but I don't know which one it is. Is it less than the speed of light? Is it the speed of light even? Or is there manipulations that let us travel even faster? We don't know the exact answer. And so it makes the future fuzzy.
Let's give it up for Warren Musser.